Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. 33 million XRP. Binance freezes Bitcoin withdrawals. MicroStrategy might be in trouble for liquidation. Celsius is pausing all withdrawals, swaps, transfers. We're going to get into all of this. Who pays for the crypto collapse? I've got a thought on that. And stablecoin, global stablecoin, I think we could be witnessing Jekyll Island 2.0. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at Dig Perspectives at the top of the screen, and everything that we're talking about here today. It is a $1 trillion market cap, and we are off by 13% and currently falling like a manhole cover from the sky. Slightly up in the last hour, but I don't believe it, and I don't know about you. It's June 13, 2022. Bitcoin now 23,300. Ethereum 1,200 plus. We see XRP right now at 31 cents. We are off by 12.6 in the last 24 hours and over 20% on the 7-day. It is an absolute bloodbath. I'm doing my best to try to use it as a buying opportunity to continue to accumulate and dollar cost average my bags when it comes to all of the assets I'm holding, and even a couple things that I've been watching for a while and now getting into those as well. And I hope you guys have the opportunity to do the same. However it goes, I hope everyone is remaining safe out here in this down spot we are in currently. Take a look right here as we get started. There's a short, very sharp recession ahead, says macro guru Raoul Pal from Real Vision. And I tell you, I am a huge fan of this guy, and I love being able to listen to him talk and hear his insights, not only on crypto, but on the economy in general. And that is why I'm diversifying, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm doing that. One of those ways is through Glint. Glint Pay is really amazing. I love being a customer. I love working with the company. Gold is security and Glint is key. And that really is true to me. I tell you, you can hedge this inflation and by the way, this high risk crypto investment market we're in, right? Which I have a huge appetite for risk. And this is one of the ways that keeps me comfortable while I take that risk. And it is buying gold on Glint Pay. Check out the link underneath the video. 33 million plus XRP transfer from FTX to unknown wallet. And this is exciting to me because, again, I use the Warren Buffett rule here. You know, I see this as serving large part of on-demand liquidity, which means the asset XRP being used for payments to relieve the stress of payments world in the current world, legacy world we're in. And XRP predominantly being used. 25% of all transactions for XRP are used with on-demand liquidity, with 8 over X or year over year, 8 times growth for XRP use. It is pretty remarkable to me that the retail buying on the secondary market, if it were to go away tomorrow, XRP would still trade and it would still have value. And that's important to me because it tells me that it's not a Ponzi scheme. It has real application. We're going to get into some of that in just a second about just how real I believe that application is. Meanwhile, human rights advocates from all over the world have sent a counter argument to the United States lawmakers trying to defend digital assets for the availability they provide to people in countries where local currencies have been imploding, broken, or cut off. Again, this speaks to exactly what I just covered about the actual use case of XRP. Now, in the market where we're seeing some real drawbacks and pains, Binance announces that they are temporarily pausing Bitcoin withdrawals while the market is collapsing from the sky. It says due to a stuck transaction causing a backlog, should be fixed in about 30 minutes. Now we'll see what goes on with that later in the day here. However, MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy has just transferred 2,089 Bitcoin at the tune of $48 million to a new wallet for the first time ever, likely planning to dump their bags. They're now moments away from facing the largest liquidation in history. I think 21,000, if I remember correctly, is the number that liquidation hits. They are only a few $1,000s away from that happening. Russia gets ready to accept crypto payments, and we see Bitcoin sitting right there staring us in the face. And in the famous words of Sheriff Buford T. Justice from Smokey and the Bandit, when he rolls up in the beginning of the movie and catches those guys stripping down the car and taking and stealing all the parts off of it. Hold up on that car wash, gentlemen. I don't know, with the moment like this, if you really want to rush into accepting crypto for payments as volatile as this market is right now. More volatility happening here and trouble in the market, and it's Celsius this time. Celsius is freezing withdrawals, swaps, transfers between accounts. We need regulatory clarity now more than ever. Stay safe out there, everybody. You know, as much trash as Michael Saylor has talked about everything else in crypto and about how you should mortgage your house, he has said even at times, and other outlandish things. That's why I constantly say I'm not a financial advisor. That's why I constantly say you have to do your own research. That's why I constantly say whatever projects you believe in and you find to be the ones where you want to put your hard-earned money. Because everyone's, first of all, evaluation of projects and tokens is different. And their process and how they go about vetting those projects is different. The other thing is that when you think about investing in a space like this, everyone's risk appetite is different. I have an enormous appetite for risk where others don't. I have an enormous appetite for speculation because if you're hearing my voice right now, you too are a speculator. But there's some people that can't stomach the idea of watching this happen. They like to invest and then walk away from it and come back in 4 years. Who's to say what's right or what is wrong? I think it's actually relative to the individual. But, this is why I say, look, I want everybody to be safe out there. And as much trash as I've heard Michael Saylor talk and all of that, I don't want to see anybody go down in flames. But do remember, Michael Saylor was, if not the biggest, one of the biggest losers in the dot-com bubble when it burst. We may be watching history repeat itself. The argument over Celsius and the halting of the withdrawals and transfers there is because Celsius moved $320 million to FTX before halting the withdrawals and transfers for their users on the platform, is the claim being made now. So we will see how this develops. I see all of this in front of us, and we're going to get into this just 1 second here. Stablecoin legislation supposedly coming very quickly. Then we understand also at the same time that DeFi is obviously in the crosshairs of regulators. I believe that these are two areas that are getting decimated intentionally by regulation and the lack of it before we get through the threshold. And then when we come out the other side, we'll see the banks, investment banks, and people like that, entities like that will be in control of this market. There's a column here shared by Charles Gasparino, who pays for crypto collapse. I'm not going to go into the article, but there's been more than $500 billion in non-Bitcoin investor losses will attract lawsuits likely, is from the article here. I want to say this. There's two sides to this coin. One is what I just mentioned about you're going to see who pays for this crypto collapse. It will be big banks at pennies on the dollar coming in and buying the companies that are left and still viable to scale, but then they will own them. I believe that is the next phase of growth that we're in, of mergers and acquisitions after the market has been bled to a level to find out who really has the staying power to remain to be bought out and who will just simply fold and go away. But the real cost on the front end is being paid by you and I, the retail investor. And that's the part where we have to understand that. And at this time, we have to understand that it is important, I believe, certainly for me at my house, my digital perspective is this. I want to try to be as liquid cash as I can in order to weather the downturn in the economy, not only this digital asset space, but the economy itself, because there's trouble coming. It's already started. I want to be able to not only weather that time, but I want to be able to buy the dips while I'm weathering that time. That's the thing. Now let's go on to this. Stuart Alderati puts a nice piece together here where he shares his thoughts to Penn, and he basically lays it out about the him and emails. I think we all know it. I'm going to give you this very quickly, which is the Jim Filan's short version here, discusses the him and speech and how the SEC has deliberately muddied the regulatory waters for crypto to unlock crypto's true potential. We need to finally clean up this regulatory sludge, and it couldn't be better said than it is right there. I want to remind you very quickly, Link2, effective today, has reduced its minimum investment threshold to $5,000 from $10,000 for all of the unicorns on the platform. Additionally, new customers, if you buy for the first time today, you will receive $1,000 in Link2 bucks. These specials do not last long. Shout out to the Link2 team, whether it's Ray Fuentes or Nick Burafedo and Joe Endoso and Susan Miller and Will and everybody else there at the Link2 fam. I hope they're all doing well. Link underneath the video. Don't miss it. Make sure you click it. Let's get into this. This is the big segment I want to take part for you as we move forward here. There is a lot of talk about getting stablecoin legislation done this year, possibly by the end of the summer, going into the fall. Now, that's exciting, right? Now, let's take a look at this. I want to start with this piece from James Wallace that I put out a little while ago, but I want you to hear what he says while you look at the illustration that I've actually put together while he's talking. And then I'm going to pull you through some other information that I believe starts to become quite a compelling case to take a look at and absolutely consider about a possible path for XRP at some point in the future. Take a listen. Okay, so now I'm going to set this clip up and I want to show you something. I'm going to let this play from 10 seconds in. Listen to what he says and look at this diagram that I have for you. We're going to talk about it. Check it out.
The central bank would actually create their own token, a digital euro, digital dollar, whatever the market is. And that becomes the digital asset.
As the native coin.
The native coin, yeah. Now, where XRP could come into play potentially is when you're looking at cross-border CBDC. So when you have a digital dollar and you have a digital, real, or digital pound, you obviously need to have some way to interact cross-border. Yeah. So I think the BIS call this a multi-CBDC model. One of the ideas is you use a sort of a neutral bridge currency to go from one to the other, similar to the model I explained earlier, with our on-demand liquidity. But the core offering really is not XRP. There's no XRP involved. It's the native token is the CBDC.
And there it is right there, right? He explains it perfectly. Now, my illustration may not be the perfect illustration, but I think it's certainly enough to get a gist and an understanding of exactly what James Wallace is suggesting. Now, what I want to talk about going forward here is the understanding of this. We know that XRP, is a bridge currency. You could say a commodity or a currency. I think there's where it sits. That's just me personally. I've been forced to look at other things, but this is where we're at talking about it today. James Wallace said in that clip, the BIS called that model of using central bank digital currencies in a bridge currency like XRP, the MCBDC model, right? The multiple CBDC model with a bridge in between it. The Financial Stability Board goes over such an idea, but they used the term global stablecoin. Now, when this report came out in October of 2020, I remember saying that was the first time I heard those two words strung together as that in my life in crypto. I had never heard the word global stablecoin until October 13, 2020. What's interesting is when you go to the definition of the glossary inside this report about what a global stablecoin is, it is with the potential to reach an adoption across multiple jurisdictions and the potential to reach or achieve substantial volume. Now think of that. That's exactly what XRP is designed to do. And if it houses the central bank digital currencies around the world, as James Wallace explained, as through the BIS MCBDC model, the multiple CBDC model has to have a bridge. And isn't it true that we're listening to people tell us, like whether it's Christine Lagarde or whether it's Kristalina Georgieva or anyone else in this financial world, tell us that 90% of central banks are pursuing a central bank digital currency and in some particular point of developing, piloting, and launching one. The idea that everyone will want each other's central bank digital currency doesn't cut it. The whole idea of having a multiple bridge currency between a multiple CBDC system is so everyone does not have to hold everyone else's dollars. And then they can begin to release their own dollars that has been locked up and lying dormant in Nostro accounts around the world. This is another illustration shared here by Nathan Price, where it further talks and shows about the idea of a stablecoin as a crypto asset that aims to maintain a stable value relative to a specific asset or a pool or a basket of assets. Go on and talk about this. A global stablecoin with the potential reach across adoption, multiple jurisdictions, and the potential to achieve substantial volume. This means it would not be a dollar. It would be pegged by a lot of different assets and collateral. The focus of the FSB, Financial Stability Board, is on a stablecoin arrangement as a whole, which is described as an arrangement that combines a range of functions and related specific activities to provide an instrument that purports to be used, a means of payments and a store of value. This is particularly with respect to privately issued global stablecoins, primarily used for retail purposes, and that may be widely used as a means of payment and a store of value. You know, when I look at all of this, I find it to be no mistake that now we have Senator Gillibrand on stage while the market is currently collapsing. None of this is a coincidence at my house. And she says this.
I think we can do a stablecoin bill between now and the end of the year because...
I think we can do a stablecoin bill between now and the end of the year because it's critical, she says. And that reminds me of Jekyll Island. That's right. The meeting at Jekyll Island, the secret gathering at a secluded island off the coast of Georgia in 1910 that laid the foundations for what became the Federal Reserve banking system. Don't believe it. It's still true. That happened. And I believe it is quite possible, if we are moving, in fact, from a debt-based system that we are currently on to a multipolar asset-backed system, then in fact what we're watching take place now, internationally and domestically, is a fight for a Jekyll Island 2.0. Who is all involved is for another video. But I tell you this, that's why no matter what this price does, what I have invested is what I have invested. And I am here to see it through. And we're hearing crypto analysts say that there could be short-term price fall between 13 and 9 cents for XRP. But there's also a prediction from the same analyst saying by year 2026, XRP could also hit $400. Is he right? I have no idea. But what I can tell you is I believe the things that I talk about on this channel. And I do not say them to try and convince anyone. I say them because they're my digital perspectives. They are not financial advice. I share my digital perspectives because I'm hoping to inspire and encourage every one of you to go do the research and vet me and vet everything I share and say. You may agree with 10% of what I say or 100%. It really doesn't matter. What really matters to me is that I've inspired you to look. Hit that like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and share with somebody you know. I'll catch all of you on the next one.